Hello and welcome to the tutorial video for Scopa. Thank you so much for joining us in France for our wedding. We really appreciate you making the trip there. And that little deck of cards that was at your seat is for one of my favorite games ever, essentially. And I learned it a long time ago in school, in Latin class. Since 7th grade, it's been something that I've enjoyed with my friends. It's great because you play with 2 or 4 people. We're going to be teaching you the 2-person variation, but you can play with 2 teams of 2, where partners sit across from each other as well.
Let's get started.
Alright, so here we have a look at a couple variations of the Scopa decks. They tend to vary based on the region of Italy from which they come. Scopa is played with 40 card decks, 4 suits. We have coins, we have cups, we have swords, and we have clubs. Coins and cups, swords and clubs, and the values go from 1 to 7 of the numbered cards, and then after 7 we get the Prince, which is worth 8, the Cavalier, which is worth 9, and then of course on top we have the King, worth 10. So it's just 1 through 10, a little bit more straightforward. Nothing too difficult to keep track of, but there are, depending on the deck, some things are a little bit more difficult to parse. Here we have the strange child holding the enormous sword. That's the 1. In the deck that I'm most used to playing with, we have like the sword on the sword belt as the 1, and this is the most odd card people have a difficult time with. This is the 1 of coins here, the like double eagle with the circle. So here we have all 40 cards, whole deck laid out in its suits. Got coins up top, it's the most powerful, swords, clubs, and cups. And now let's take a look at how we actually start play. After shuffling, we're going to start the deal with 1 face up, 1 to each person, 1 face up, 1 to each person, and finally, after 3 cards down, we end up with 4 cards face up on the table. So, of course we would have our hands closed so only we could see them, but I would start as the receiver rather than the dealer, and normal play proceeds that you only ever use 1 card from your hand on your turn, and the most direct way to pick up a card on the table is with a direct match. So because coins are powerful, as I've said before, I could say take the 6 of swords with my 6 of coins, and so I can then just collect those face down near me, and then it would be Claudia's turn. So she has a direct match with the 8 here, the Prince, and she's picking up a coin as well, so that's a powerful move. Now we have the other variation of picking up, which is using as many cards on the table as you want to add up to, again, always just 1 card in your hand. So here we have 7 of swords, 3 of cups adds up to 10, and there's my King with the 10. So now I get to collect all of these, but what we've done here is we have swept the board clean, and in Italian, Scopa means to sweep, or means to, literally the broom. So by sweeping the board clean, not only have I made my opponent at a disadvantage because she has no cards to play, but also 1 point is earned simply for sweeping it clean. And the louder you yell Scopa, the cooler you are. So always keep that in mind. So once you've played your 3 cards from your hand, the dealer then deals out 6 more cards face down. So the only time that the dealer puts anything face up from the deck is at the very beginning to set the table, as it were. All right, so final hand. So the way this works is whoever creates the last pickup on the board captures all of the remaining cards after everything from the hands has been played. So you can use the timing if you have a guaranteed match. I have two 9s here, and I know that I've seen 2 9s come through already. So I can throw something like this out without fear of being taken by someone else, and then I can make that my last move to capture whatever else is on the table at the time. But for now, I'm quite sure that I've seen 3 kings go by, so I feel safe taking that 1 and leaving that alone on the table.
I have some higher cards. Nothing is going to make a combination that I have to risk a Scopa. So I'm going to put out the 2, hoping I get something. I don't get anything. Throw out this.
So merely by chance of Claudia going last, her setup ends up trumping mine, and she ends up taking the final card on the table. So if the order here had been reversed and we had no king left on the table, when I take this and Claudia finishes, this looks like a Scopa, but because this is the last cards in the deck, last cards of the round, it does not count as a Scopa. So at the end of the round, when all the cards have been taken, we start to count the points. So there are 4 points, 4 regular points in the game of Scopa, not including the Scopas themselves. So if I had a Scopa like in the beginning of this round, then I would be at 1, Claudia would start at 0, and now we're counting the points of the round. So the first one, very straightforward, is who has the most cards. So if it's not that close, when you put the cards together, Claudia wins with her larger stack of cards. Obviously you can count whoever gets to 21 gets the most out of a deck of 40 cards. If each person has taken 20 cards, then no one gets the point. Then the other is just about as simple. It's who has the most coins. So there are only 10 coins in the deck. I got 3 coins, Claudia has 7. So Claudia has now both the most cards and the most coins, so she has 2 out of the 4 points. The other reason that coins are so powerful is this card on its own, the 7 of coins, is worth a point in and of itself for collecting it. So we have cards, we have coins, and then we have the 7 of coins. So those are the 3 very straightforward points that we total up at the end of the round. The last is the one that seems to give people the most issues, so let's go over that. So the final point in the end of the round is called the Premiera in Italian, but colloquially we just tend to call it finishing. So where do you finish? So we take every card of each suit that is the highest without becoming a face card. So my King of Clubs is not useful here. My 9 of Cups is not useful here. So the highest card that's not a face card is, of course, the 7. This is why 7s are the most powerful. when you take the highest card of each suit, you end up comparing the lowest of your set to the lowest of your opponent's set. So even though I finished really strong up here with the 7 and 7 coins and swords, down here, Claudia actually managed to snipe quite a bit of both clubs and cups this round. So she pinned me all the way down to 3 in cups and all the way down to 2 in clubs. Pretty unusual, but that makes her 4, that's her lowest card out of 7, 7, 5, 4, beat my 2. So even if you get all 3 7s and then you end up with a 3, it's that 3 that's going to kill you at the end of the round. So the other part of the strategy of Scopa, besides just trying to keep track of what's gone by, so you know what to give your opponent on the board, is if I early on got the 7 and the 6 and I see the 5 of clubs come up, I know that if I get that, I'm already pinning my opponent down to finishing at 4. So you can kind of attack your opponent in that way and try to secure the finishing point early on in the round.
One thing that can make counting the finishing point very easy is if you are lucky enough to get all 4 7s during the round, because if you manage to achieve all 4 7s, the highest your opponent can finish at is 6, if they are able to. In this case, he finished at 4. So that guarantees the person who gets 4 7s the point.
So after you finish counting the 4 points, plus any Scopas for that round, shuffle, then the next person would deal. And then you continue back and forth, dealing rounds until someone achieves 11 points. Usually we play if someone were to reach 11 points in the same round as their opponent, then you have to win by 2 to create a little bit more competition, but however you choose to play is completely up to you. The main strategy of this game is trying to remember what has or has not come by yet. So because this would be the first hand after the deal, she would have no chance of doing anything but guessing. This is the 1 of coins, which of course she would like to take because coins are the most powerful suit. So she might want to keep that in her hand on the off chance that I have a 1 that I have to throw out.
However, another style of thinking is that the 1 is the lowest card. So if I throw out my 4, I can take only another 1 with a 1. So if I throw out the 1, there's a better chance that I could add up to something and take it with a 4.
Yes, so if this were a 3, then she would be able to collect this and get a Scopa for herself. But in this case, if she were to throw out her 4, I would immediately then collect and Scopa as well. So in this case, we'll say she throws out the 1. I can't do anything, just like she couldn't do anything. So I throw out my 4, and then she collects the 4 there. The maximum count of a card that you can play is the king, the 10. So if I was able to create a value that went over 10 on the table, then I would guarantee that my opponent could not get a Scopa by sweeping the board clean because there's no 11 or 12 card. In this case, I really have no idea what she has. I would probably throw out the 5 to give myself a little bit of a chance to make something together later on, and save my 2 of coins in my hand to hopefully use later.
So this is an interesting situation that we have. I could either take the 1 of coins with my 1 and be left with the 4, or I can hopefully set myself up for something bigger depending on what Ian has in his hand. He hasn't taken the 1, so I don't think he has a 1 in his hand. So I'm going to throw out the 1 and try and set myself up to take all these cards at once with my 4 on my next turn. So you don't have to pick up a card just because you can make a match.
Exactly correct. And none of this adds up to 8, and that's all I got. So out the 8 goes, and now Claudia's cool, complex plan comes forward. She picks up 4 cards at once, 2 of which are coins. So then she would re-deal the 3 to each. Same situation. I have nothing to work with. I just saw, so again, this comes into the strategy. I just saw that she used a 4. So I feel relatively safe. I know that 1 or 2 4s have already come through here. By throwing out this 4, I don't think she has an easy match, and 4 plus 8 is 12, so I know she is not going to be able to pull off a Scopa.
I also can't pick anything up. I don't have a direct match, and as he said, I can't add anything. So this is a powerful card. I don't want to throw this out. This is a powerful card. I don't want to throw this out. So I'm going to put out the 5 and hopefully take it with my 5 of coins.
I am trying to set myself up for the 7, so I can throw my 3 here to go with the 4, hopefully next turn. And now Claudia has a choice. Does she want to do the coin that she set herself up for? Or, since she just saw that I didn't pick up anything, why not use the card that I just threw out and pick up the 7?
Yes, I would definitely go for that. One of the few tricky rules in Scopa is that anytime you're looking to make a combination, you need to make sure that there isn't already a direct match on the board. So in this example, I might want to take these 2 cards with my 10. However, I'm forced to make the direct match with the other king because there's already a king on the board.
So here we've got another little gameplay example for you. If my man with the coins here is trying to pick up the 7 and the 1, make 8. It's a pretty good pickup. I would unfortunately be thwarted by Captain Cups here, so I'd have to grab him first.
And this is an awesome opportunity for me because I have a king. So 1 plus 2 plus 7 is 10, and I Scopa.